C. Ruth Taylor. Ruth has created the Authorpreneur Secrets Academy and the first Caribbean Authorpreneur Summit around her book, Authorpreneur Secrets. As an Amazon best-selling author, she has coached several Caribbean authors to become Amazon best-selling authors. Her mission is to raise up 10,000 winning Caribbean entrepreneurs by 2030, to ensure fewer books die in the minds of their authors, that more manuscripts become published legacies, and precious lives are transformed with the turn of every page.
This is Kamika Ruth Taylor's story and her journey into authorpreneurship. Let's talk about writing a book. For so many people, the dream, the big goal, is hitting that bestseller list, right? But what if the real power of a book has nothing to do with how many copies you sell, but everything to do with what you build from it? This idea that book sales are the only measure of author success, it's created this huge myth, and honestly, it's a trap. It's a trap that so many talented writers fall into. They pour their heart and soul into a book, and then crickets. The sales just don't pay the bills. So, we're going to look at a totally different way to do this, a path that completely rethinks what a book is even for. To really get this, let's dive into a real story, Kamika Ruth Taylor's author's journey. It all kicked off back in 2014, and it started with a huge, life-changing decision. She actually walked away from her job, no salary, no safety net, all to chase this calling she had, to write books that could really, truly change people's lives. Talk about a leap of faith, right? And it was all built on this one powerful, high-stakes idea. That was it. That was the belief she was running on. This book will make her a millionaire. She was so sure of it, so convinced that she went deep into debt just to get her book published. We're talking crowdfunding, sponsorships, even borrowing money from family. And the plan? It was ambitious. Sell 5,000 copies, like right away, and boom, financial freedom. But you know how it goes. For pretty much every creator out there, the dream and the reality, they don't always line up. And here's how that reality hit. I mean, it hit hard. After publishing in early 2015, the sales were just a trickle. Can you imagine? A whole year of hustling, of believing in this thing, and she only managed to sell 1,000 copies. That's not enough to live on. Not even close. And it's definitely not enough to pay back all those loans. So by 2016, she had to go back and get a part-time job just to keep her head above water. But here's the crazy thing. Her story? It wasn't some special case of failure. Not at all. In fact, it's depressingly common. Get this. The average new book from an author nobody's heard of sells fewer than 1,000 copies in its entire lifetime. So her struggle wasn't just some personal story of hardship. It was a symptom of a model that's just fundamentally broken for new authors. So after 3 years of this grind, she decided to leave the workforce again, but this time for good. And you better believe she was determined not to make the same mistake twice. Relying solely on book sales? That was off the table. She knew she needed a totally new strategy, a complete pivot in how she thought about everything. And that new identity was the Authorpreneur. It's a mix of author and entrepreneur. But it's so much more than a buzzword. It represents this massive mental shift. You stop thinking about just creating a book. Instead, you start thinking about how to strategically build an entire business with that book, right at the center of it all.
Welcome, everyone, to the launch and masterclass, all having to do with the book, Authorpreneur Secrets Blueprint. My name is Dr. Kamika Ruth Taylor, and I am one of the hosts for this evening. I am a graduate of Baki Graduate University, so you saw me being hooded. And I know there are many persons here from BGU and will be watching on the replay, persons from the EMBA program and persons from the doctoral programs and staff. This evening, the book we're launching marks the culmination of a decade of being an author entrepreneur or an authorpreneur, and a decade of studying how books work, and how I can solve the problem of low book sales for authors using my own experience. So, welcome. If you are an author who has published a book and you are wondering what's next, maybe your books are not selling, you are in for a treat, because all of this evening is going to be a masterclass in authorpreneurship. If you have a thesis or a dissertation that's sitting idly somewhere, this moment is also for you, because you're going to learn how that can become an income generating asset. If you have a story to tell or a book idea that you know can transform lives and impact the world, this evening's launch is also for you. When I completed my doctoral studies this year, I wrote a book that was launched in May, just a mini book called From Calling to Completion. And in it, there is a poem, and it says, part of it says, completion is not arrival at a platform. It is authorization for the next phase. Completion is stewardship of everything the process has produced in you. And so if you completed your degree, if you finished the book, this is now authorization for the next phase. And the book that we're launching this evening is authorization for the next phase, not only of my journey, but also of your journey. With me this evening is my co-host, Colette A. Guthrie. She is an authorpreneur and a best-selling author of 5 books, and founder of Chapter and Verse Publishing. And she will be guiding us through the program as well. So let us know where you're joining from. Are you from BGU? Are you from the Authorpreneurs Facebook group? Where exactly are you joining us from? Do let us know. Over to you, Colette. Take it away.
Thank you, Ruth. I would also like to extend my welcome to everyone who is here today. And I am sure you will not leave the same. Today, we want to do things in a fun way. So I'm going to encourage you to interact in the chat if you're on YouTube, and give us a word starting with A, B, or C to describe yourself. I'll give you mine. I am an author, as Ruth would have told you. I am a book lover. I love to read other people's books that can give me insights into living a better life. And I am a coach, consultant, because I'm a publishing coach. So that's my ABC. Please share yours in the chat, and we will take a look at them if we get the chance and share them with our viewers. You may be wondering, how did I get here? And that's something I ask myself too. I met Ruth last year around May 2025. And it feels like I've known her for a longer time. And because of the way the world is, we have not met face to face. It was a virtual meeting. Shortly after checking out the Bamboo Sparks website, because I had heard someone I know publish a book with Bamboo Sparks, I signed up for a free consultation with Ruth and was quickly intrigued by the way she did book publishing and learning about the authorpreneurship model. And you're going to hear lots more about that today. Through my ongoing interaction with Ruth, I became a firm believer in this philosophy. See, entrepreneur, believer, A, B, C. And I am certain you will hear something today that will make you think about books in a different way. Our program today is going to be in two segments. Segment one, we'll be looking at the Entrepreneur Secret Blueprint book launch. And in segment two, we'll have the masterclass where Ruth will share how she converted her dissertation to a book and how you can do that too, even if you don't know where to start. Now, we will love for you to stay until the end, but if you're unable to do so, do come back and catch the replay. So, the first part is the book launch, and the second part will be the masterclass. So, about Ruth and this Entrepreneur Secrets book. Last June, so after I met Ruth in May, June, she hosted an event similar to that, to this one here today, a virtual event where she was showcasing a different book, Million Dollar Book Secrets, and it was also a masterclass. At the end of that event, I grabbed Ruth's early bird offer and signed up for her program with the same name. I was so intrigued at the concept that I could have $1 million book. What impressed me most about the program was the philosophy behind it, that any well written book could become an engine for sources of income beyond book sales. Now you had me at sales, but beyond book sales, I was there in the front row of that class. And with Ruth's help, I launched a program based on my first book, Wise Words for Everyday Living. My program was called the Wise Life Transformation Program. And on the day of the launch, I got a client who I took through the program within the next 3 months. I helped her to develop better habits in the areas of personal devotions, time management, budgeting, health, stress management, and anger management. So that's one example of the way one book can make a difference in many, many persons' lives. So today you will hear more about another book that can make a world of difference. So Ruth will tell us some more.
All right. Thank you so much, Colette. So, you're already hearing a little bit about authorpreneurship. And you would have seen the video about the journey that brought me here. So, we're launching this book, Authorpreneur Secrets. And the subtitle of the book is A Proven Research-Based Model to Turn Your Book into a Profitable Business. And we're looking primarily at online business. So I want to ask in the chat, how many of you are already authors? If you're an author, let me know in the chat. You can type, I am an author. If you have a master's thesis or a capstone project, you could put, I have a project. I just want to get a feel of who is in the audience. Are you an authorpreneur? Let us know in the chat. Do you have a doctoral dissertation that's sitting somewhere idly on the shelf? Let us know, because we want to talk to you, get a sense of who our audience is. And I see we have one person from BGU, that's Daniel Armstrong. Welcome, 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 welcome. And so you heard the program is in two parts. We have the book launch first, and then the masterclass at the end, which is related to the book. And so there is a video that we have that will introduce the book so that you can learn much more about the book. And so we're going to get into that. And the book is available currently on Amazon in ebook and hardcover format. And now So Daniel has a PhD from Bucky. Daniel was one of the graduates. I remember you now from graduation. Yes, we graduated together a month ago. Yes, indeed. So we have Dr. Daniel in the chat. All right, so Dr. Daniel, stay till the end because the part you're most interested in is right at the end. So here we go. What is this book all about? Here's a video that tells you.
Backing a genuinely game-changing framework for authors, developed by Dr. C. Ruth Taylor. You know, if you've ever poured your absolute heart and soul, not to mention those countless coffee-fueled late nights, into writing a book, or maybe you've already hit publish and you're just sitting there quietly wondering, okay, what exactly comes next? Well, you are 100% in the right place. We're getting into the core concepts inside the Authorpreneur Secrets Blueprint. And listen, this isn't just about figuring out how to sell a few more paperbacks. It's really about mapping out that exact journey from a struggling, starving artist to a thriving, sustainable entrepreneur.
We really got to start by contrasting the ultimate author's dream with the, let's be real, pretty harsh everyday reality. I mean, almost every writer shares that same deep-seated dream, right? Hitting that elusive bestseller list, grabbing instant financial freedom, and making a massive global impact with your words. You're picturing the glamorous book launches, the accolades, the passive income just rolling in while you sip coffee and start your next novel. But the reality? For the vast majority, it's crickets. Poor sales, maybe a couple of pity purchases from your mom and your best friend. So many incredibly talented writers pour literally everything they have into a project, only to end up having to pick up a part-time job just to keep the lights on and pay the bills. The idea that book sales alone are the ultimate measure of success, it's a huge myth. And honestly, it's a dangerous trap that just keeps creatives broke.
The research doesn't just point out the problem, it gives us a clear step-by-step framework you can actually use. It's called ACTS. So here's how it breaks down. A is for asset. Your book, your story, your knowledge. That's your core asset. C is for card. You use that book like a business card to build authority and open doors. T is for transformation. This is where you create something transformational, like a coaching program or an online course that helps people actually apply what's in your book. And finally, S is for sustain. That's how you create recurring revenue that is so much more reliable than just waiting for book sales to trickle in. Your book's journey changes. It goes from just being a book to being your business card, to being the engine for a whole transformational program. It's not the destination anymore, it's the launch pad.
So let's take a look at the structure of her book and see how this builds a definitive roadmap for you to implement. Dr. Taylor divided her blueprint into 3 distinct parts, creating a really clear path to guide creatives step by step out of that starving artist trap. Let's break down exactly what is inside.
Part 1 of the book lays the critical groundwork you absolutely need before making any business moves. It details the fascinating findings from her doctoral research and takes a deep dive into that essential authorpreneur paradigm shift we talked about a minute ago. This section, it is all about getting your mindset right.
Then we move into part 2, which digs right into the mechanics. This is where Dr. Taylor unpacks her hybrid authorpreneur model, basically the ACTS framework in action. So what exactly is a hybrid model? It means intelligently combining traditional low-ticket book sales with high-ticket back-end offers. We're talking personalized consulting, corporate training, stuff derived straight from your book's core message. What's really fantastic about this section is it gives you real-world case studies of successful implementation, and it reveals the 7 specific success factors that dictate an entrepreneur's long-term viability. Finally, part 3 ensures you actually take action, because this blueprint is heavily engineered for implementation, not just passive reading. It guides you step by step, starting with an ACTS diagnostic test. From there, it walks you through a robust 5-step launch framework to get your business off the ground, complete with some highly practical implementation worksheets. It's perfectly designed to hold your hand as you create and launch your very own profitable Access pilot program centered entirely around the specific expertise in your book. If we accept the reality that relying on traditional book sales alone is a dangerous financial trap, and that just selling copies is no longer the ultimate goal for a modern writer, well, the only real question left to answer is this: what will you build from your book?
All right, so this book would not have been possible without Bucky Graduate University. I have been saying that it is the conversion of my dissertation, right, to a book. And so this book is dedicated to Bakke Graduate University, or BGU for short, and to my dissertation supervisor, Dr. Scholastica Olagandru. Thank you so much for helping me to come up with this entrepreneurship model and to put my experience in a transformational framework. And this has now been captured in the book. And at my defense, the oral review committee, the head of the committee, Dr. Payne, encouraged me to take entrepreneurship globally, this concept. And this book is the one of the primary vehicles to get that done. So over to you, Coach Colette.
Awesome. Thank you, Ruth. That was a fitting name for someone for you to dedicate the book to, Scholastica.
Yes.
So I would like to ask you a few questions. And the first one is, why did you write Authorpreneur Secrets Blueprint?
Right. So I guess I gave away the answer a while ago. I was looking for a vehicle for the vision. And because at the end of the defense, they encouraged me to create an entrepreneurship certificate. And being an educator, trained educator, I'm like, well, with training comes a book. And I wanted to continue to coach people. And I have a vision for the Caribbean. I'm from Jamaica, to raise up 10,000 Caribbean entrepreneurs by 2030. And I had been looking for a vehicle to do that in a very clear way, that people could just take something and just do it. And so the dissertation gave me a formula that I call ACTS. And I thought if I could distill that in a book, rather, people might not want to read a 200 and something page dissertation filled with academic work. So I wanted my findings to reach a wider audience in a language they could understand, to make it clearer. And I wanted a guide to raise up other entrepreneurs. And hence this book, Authorpreneur Secrets Blueprint.
All right. So we're sticking with the theme. That's B. So how long did it take you?
All right.
I know you're the rocket writer. So
I know. So I can write a book in a day, right? So this one didn't take me a day. It actually took 3 weeks. So my dissertation, the oral review was on the 11th of March. And then a couple days later, I had the spark, it's like the muse just came on me. You need to write a book and capture your transformational framework and the entrepreneurship process. So that was 11th of March. By April, I had a print proof in my hand. And I didn't like how the proof turned out. So I had to edit it and everything. So it took me about 3 weeks. And by May 9, when we were launching this other book, it was already on pre-order on Amazon. And I didn't want to release it yet. I wanted to release it to coincide with my graduation. So by the 6th of June, the ebook was available. The print was ready, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to put that on Amazon or if I wanted to just sell that on my own website privately or just make it for the course. But in any event, I decided that I would put the hardcover on Amazon, and that went up this month. So it took me 3 weeks to turn the dissertation itself into a book in terms of the draft. And then within a 90-day period, all the editions were published. Oops.
All right. So you have ebook and
And
hardcover.
Yes.
Okay, great. I've seen that hardcover. It looks very shiny. And
Yes.
green is my favorite color already.
Uh,
So I would like to ask, what's the difference between Entrepreneur Secrets Blueprint and the previous Entrepreneur Secrets book that you wrote? Because I had that one too.
okay. So Colette is referring to this book, Authorpreneur Secrets. This one, the subtitle is Write Fast, Publish Cost Effectively, and Generate Lasting Income. So this one that you could call book one has a section on how to write a book in 30 days. So it deals with writing fast. The next segment of this one deals with the steps to publish a book and to do so cost effectively for less than $1,000 US. And this is independent publishing or self-publishing. And then the other segment of the book introduced persons to authorpreneurship, and it has stories of people who became authorpreneurs, and it told you different income streams that you could consider, but it didn't walk you through the step-by-step process to become an authorpreneur. Whereas this book now takes you through the step-by-step process, as it is called a blueprint because it is a roadmap. So the idea is that you could take up the Authorpreneur Secrets blueprint, go through it DIY, and at the end of it, you can create an online program, an online business around your book, so that you could take a $20 book and turn it into a $200 program, or a $400 program, or a $2,000 program. And this book takes you through that process step by step.
Okay, nice. What do you hope to accomplish with this book? What's your big goal?
That's a good question. Apart from what I said in terms of raising up more entrepreneurs, I want people to experience a transformation that I experienced from becoming an entrepreneur. So when I left my part-time job in 2018, there was no other source of income. I felt that this was what God wanted me to do, to become a full-time entrepreneur. And so since 2018 to now, it is this entrepreneurship model that has sustained me, helped me to pay my bills. It funded 50% of my doctorate. It helped me to, this model helped me to build a couple online businesses, including using my skills in publishing to help others to generate income or employment. So at least 21 creatives were able to benefit from the online businesses and initiatives that came out of it. In Jamaica, 80% of the professionals, or those who get a degree, tend to migrate. They tend to go to the US, Canada, and elsewhere, because when you earn in foreign currency or US dollar, it goes a far way in your own country. What entrepreneurship did was enable me to build profitable products and services and programs with my books online, so that I could live in Jamaica and earn foreign currency, because it gave me access to a global audience. And it gave me that freedom, and I didn't have to be trying to sell a lot of books in order to make a living. I tried that, it didn't work. So I learned that if I wanted to make a living with a book, that I had to build products and services around it. And so I want others to experience the transformation that entrepreneurship brings. And it's just, especially my story, my skills, and my expertise. It has enabled me to use that combination with intellectual property to make a full-time living and has helped some persons to earn, supplementary income. And so I want others to experience a similar transformation. So, for example, those in the EMBA program, this is one way that you could set up a business, and this book can help you to do that. You can turn your transformational framework into a book that could be used for greater impact and income.
Wow, that is pretty amazing. I'm an accountant as well, so the numbers hit me. And you said that the book paid for 50% of your dissertation.
Of my
And I
doctorate.
know your doctoral degree, and that was not a small amount of money.
Yeah, it was
So,
about 25,000 US dollars in
wow.
total, not counting some of the graduation fees and traveling to graduation. So yeah, that's about 12,000 US dollars based on the initiatives that I developed.
I have to pick myself up off the floor there. That is a big number.
Yeah.
And you said something that you want other authors to experience the transformation. I'm going to share my testimony. You may not be expecting this, Ruth, but when I met you in May of 2025, I was 90% done with writing my number one bestseller, Freedom from Fibroids. That's this book here. This is my hardcover. And in May, I was questioning who should I publish with. And when I met you and we had that initial conversation, it led to me becoming your apprentice. That's another A. I apprenticed under Ruth as her publishing trainee. She was my publishing manager, supervisor, coach, everything. And as a result of that training, I was able to independently publish my book with minimal external help from outside sources. So I did pay for certain things like getting the book cover done. You have to know, Ruth always says, you have to know what you're good at and you need to know what you're going to outsource. So as a result of meeting Ruth, I became a certified publisher myself. And I'm now publishing under my own imprint and helping other authors to do the same. So I have caught the vision, and today we're going to hear from two other persons who will share their stories. And these will be testimonials, video testimonials done in the voice of Authorpreneur Jodianne DeMarcado. And Jodianne was my batchmate in our training with Ruth. You will hear from Dr. Clara Ricketts and Dr. Zoe Simpson, both of whom have benefited from the ACTS model and whose testimonies are in the book. Let's hear their stories.
My journey with Kamika Ruth Taylor began with the publication of my first book by Extra Mile Innovators, of which she was founder and director. The book, entitled Yes They Can, Working with Children with Learning and Behavior Disorders, was the conversion of my doctoral dissertation. Shortly after its publication in 2019, I learned from Ruth that it was possible to use the book for a purpose other than merely. I am most grateful to Dr. Kamika Ruth Taylor for leading me on the path of entrepreneurship. As a retired octogenarian, it gives me great inner satisfaction, engagement, a sense of purpose in my senior years, as well as an ongoing source of income. I will definitely encourage others, especially retirees, to follow me with the understanding that there is no age limit. Dr. Clara Ricketts, author of the book Yes They Can, founder, Shore Foundation Educational Consulting Services. I started on a retirement planning journey with C. Ruth Taylor in 2019. The plan included her Write and Retire Right concept, which was then in the embryonic stage. Although I already had the titles, the experiences of my full-time employment as head of a public body delayed the plan's unscheduled materialization. Dr. Taylor neither pushed nor prodded. She kindly gave me a scholarship to take her book formatting and book publishing program. The strategy of combining theory with practice catapulted me into book publishing and helped me realize my retirement plan. In 2025, the year of my actual retirement, I published my first book, Disciples in Difficult Days, Standing Firm in the Faith. I also established a book publishing business, Lifeline Publishing, which has since attracted 4 clients. Ruth's strategy worked. I now have in my hands skills that have positioned me to write and retire right. Dr. Zoe Simpson, author of Disciples in Difficult Days, founder of Lifeline Publishing.
All right. Thank you, Jodianne. Thank you to Dr. Clara and Dr. Zoe for sharing. Final question, Ruth. What's next for this book, Authorpreneur Secrets Blueprint?
That's a good question. And before I share what's next, I want to piggyback on Dr. Clara Ricketts' story. Now, Dr. Clara Ricketts is a 2016 graduate of BGU. So make some noise for BGU. She started her doctoral program at the tender age of about 68, and she graduated at the age of 70. And then she turned her book, her dissertation, into a book called Yes They Can. I'm going to go to her website, and she is now 81 years old, and I'm going to tell you what she did with her book, and that will lead into what's next. So I want you to just pay careful attention. Now, if Dr. Ricketts at age 81 can do this, I'm sure nobody here is 81. Therefore, what's next with the book is worth listening to. So I'm going to go to her website and share with you what she did to inspire you to be a part of what's next with this book. Don't go anywhere. All right, so let me refresh. All right, so her website is there, and I'm going to share screen. All right. So we're wrapping up the book launch segment. All right, so this is Dr. Clara Ricketts, famous BGU graduate. Well, I am calling her famous. And when Dr. Clara Ricketts converted her book, her dissertation to a book, this was the book, Yes They Can, Working with Children with Learning and Behavior Disorders. I helped her to publish that book. She worked with somebody else to convert the dissertation to the book. And then she started doing workshops. This book had the findings from her dissertation, which was based on her years of experience helping children with special needs. She's a special needs educator for over 45 years, and she has a son with special needs that she was able to help, who is now a productive citizen, married, has done his degrees as well. And so when she's doing workshops, since she converted the book, she wanted, so she felt like having a book is the ultimate thing to do. Once you have a doctorate, that's the next thing. And so she was doing a workshop one day, and she asked the participants in the workshop to, ahead of the workshop, to read the book and then come, and then she would just discuss the concept, and she thought it would make the workshop easier. They said to her they didn't have time to read a 200-page book. So she had to teach exactly what was in the book. The book retails for $20. But this year, Dr. Ricketts, well, I worked with her in November last year. She closed the physical school that she had to help the children with special needs. And at age 80, her brain is still functioning, and she still wants to help people. So we decided to use the book as a billboard, as a business card, to launch an online program, a parent support program. So it would be less intensive than what she was doing with the school. The book retails for $20. We launched that program in a similar format like what we're doing here tonight in January. And let me give you the cost of that program. This time she's not having persons read the entire book. They're only reading a chapter or two from the book. And so yes, they can parent support transformation program based on her book. It retails for, or it goes for $600 US. So people don't want to read the $20 book, but they want to hear what is in the book. So she created a $600 program to teach them the very same thing that is in the book. But she also provided community so that the parents can get their question answered, and they can get feedback from other parents of children with special needs. And she says this has helped her to be active in retirement and engaged. And so how does that tell you what's next for me?
I'll hear some numbers.
You're looking at the numbers.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
she got four clients already. So how does that piggyback into what's next for me? Similar to Dr. Ricketts, with the other book, I had launched an academy, and it was primarily focused just on publishing and then encouraging people to go into entrepreneurship. I had a membership group and a library in which I had the Authorpreneur Secrets book with Q&As and everything. And yet people would not go over there to read the book, watch the videos and different things. They only wanted to come to the live masterclass to ask me questions.
Guilty.
Yeah, they wouldn't. In fact, one young man, because almost every question they asked me was already in the book, but they didn't want to go through the book. And so one young man in the program said, why should I read the book when I can ask you the questions directly? I was a little offended, but you have to give the people what they want. People would prefer to hear you tell them what is in the book, and they would pay more for it. So what I'm doing with this book, what's next, is that I'm launching the Authorpreneur Secrets Academy to bring this book to life. And today, if you're looking for community support, if you don't want to read the book, but you want to be taught what is in the book in a supportive community, to start your own online business, to publish and flourish without depending on book sales, I encourage you to go to authorpreneursecrets.com/academy. And this community now is helping to solve the big problems. You know, most authors don't sell more than 500 copies of the book, and then they feel disappointed afterwards. And they're wondering, what can I do to market and monetize my books? If you're like that, you have a story, you have your dissertation, a book idea, this is the academy. We will help you to publish confidently. So we're not going to publish the book for you, but you can get publishing guidance, and we will point you to those who will help you to get the book published. So we're going to have monthly Q&As and workshop, and it's $99 per month. And you can unsubscribe at any time. We take you through a process whereby every 90 days, you're going to be encouraged to launch your axe pilot, right? So from the dissertation birthed the axe model birthed the blueprint became, the book, and now we have the academy. And this is the axe model: asset, convert your story and skills and knowledge into a book that becomes a business card to build a transformation program online, like courses, coaching, you name it, and then you create sustainable income. So you're going to get a 2-hour live workshop on Zoom each month. There are going to be 8 workshops. Some are based on the chapters of the book. We're bringing the book to life. And then you're going to get the monthly live Q&A session, right? Where you can get direction and clarity. And that's going to be the 4th Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. And then we're going to have what we call the Flourish Challenges, where we're going to encourage, we have an entrepreneur challenge every quarter to earn between 1,000 and 10,000 US dollars with your initiative. So it's not just about planning, but action. And then we celebrate in the community. We have rewards. Rewards for being an emerging entrepreneur. You earn your first $1,000. Then rewards for being an entrepreneur rock star when you earn your first 10,000. Then rewards for being an entrepreneur superstar when you earn 100,000 US dollars. And you don't have to stay in the program for the entire year. We have an Authorpreneur Secrets DIY starter kit for self-starters, and it's $99. But when you join the academy, you gain access to it. It has the book. It has a 1-hour course that introduces entrepreneurship and tell you how to build your initiatives. And there are worksheets. So if you learn fast, you could only stay in the academy for 1 month, ask your questions and things like that, download the DIY starter kit and leave. But if you're looking for community and encouragement and support, you can stay in the community as long as you want. It's $99. And then we have a library where the workshops will be recorded, the Q&As will be recorded, and you can go back. If you decide to join today, it's $99 per month, or 1,000 US dollar one-time annual fee. But in the next 24 hours, if this appeals to you, you will get $60 for your first month. And the first workshop will be about publishing smart, how you can publish a book in 30 to 90 days and launch your initiative. And that's based on chapter 4 of the book. Or you could pay $800 one-time annual fee, and you get a 16% discount off. And that's only for the next 24 hours. So you go to authorpreneursecrets.com to learn more and sign up. The program or the community will be built on a platform called School. So after the next 24 hours, will be regular programming, and people can go register on School. So that's what's next. We're bringing the book to life through the academy for people who don't want to read, but who want the guidance and the benefit from authorpreneurship. So, Colette, over to you. Does that make sense? Are you a part of the community? Is that something you?
I'm in there. I'm in there. Anybody else is coming, following along with me on the journey. So I'm going to encourage all of those persons who have a book that is waiting to be born to sign up and get that special offer today in the next 24 hours, the fast action bonus. And if there are any questions, you can share them in the comments and we'll answer them if you have any questions about the program, and we will answer them for you. If you have any questions about the details, we definitely need you to stick around so you can be a part of the masterclass that is coming up. So for today, we want to say thank you to Jodianne for book editing and voiceovers, to Natalia Downer for voiceover for Ruth, and Ruth will read the acknowledgements from the book. I don't see any questions in the chat, so it is.
But we have some comments. One person says community works.
Yes, this is.
Yeah, Dr. Scholastica is here. Hi, Doc. This book is dedicated to you, and you're part of the acknowledgements. So I'm reading the acknowledgements. And so we are closing off the book launch segment now, and we are going to go into the masterclass. All right. So thank you for staying. We should be out of here in 90 minutes. So we are doing well on time so far. First of all, I give all praise on God for calling me to the field of authorpreneurship and leading me to attend Bakke Graduate University, where my leadership skills were developed and through whom I was able to complete the doctoral dissertation and frame this authorpreneurship blueprint. I'm deeply grateful to Bakke Graduate University for being God's chisel in my life since 2015. Special mention has to be made to Dr. Martine Audiod, PhD Program Director and Academic Advisor to the President, who was instrumental in enabling me to begin my doctoral studies and to resume after a 4-year pause. Heartfelt gratitude to my supervisor, Dr. Scholastica Wilson Olagonju, for her redirection and guidance throughout the dissertation process. The blueprint is the fruit of that guidance, and the doors that have opened are all thanks for your wisdom and diligence in going above and beyond the call of duty. Not to be left out is Dr. Claire Henry, whose wisdom steadied the ship during the dissertation as you served in the capacity of second reader. And she read this book and she gave it a thumbs up. To all who supported me on the doctoral journey, all my clients over the past decade, this blueprint is a result of working with you and the lessons learned. And so it is from lived and practical experience. Special thanks to people like Nerissa Golden and Rick Couchman, who encouraged and cheered me along the journey. Grateful to my Facebook Indie Authorpreneurs group. Thank you. And my Bamboo Sparks team. And all who contributed to the research, Jam Copy, the participants, the 50 participants in the dissertation study, and to Kingston Creatives, Andrea Dempster, for providing the research that I needed about the Jamaican creative industry. And thanks to Colette for chairing this first half of the program, the book launch, and for being part of the different initiatives, because you were one of the guinea pigs. You proved that the blueprint works. All right, so that's the end of the book launch segment. And we are going to segue into the masterclass. Put some fire in the chat if you're ready for a masterclass. All right, so I'm just going to show again. Remember, this book is as a result of my dissertation, and so everything is linked. So you're basically going to learn through this masterclass how I created this book. right. So thank you for sticking and staying. If you're ready for Masterclass, put in the chat, Masterclass, class. So class is in session. We started the Authorpreneur Secrets Masterclass in 2025, right here on this YouTube channel. And we took a break last year, July. So it's been 1 year since we have not had a masterclass. So this is our official resumption, and we're off with a bang. So this is the first time the world is being introduced to this formula. I'm going to be using my handy dandy PowerPoint, and I'm introducing, this is my framework. All right. Somebody else may use something else, but this is the framework that I use to convert my dissertation to a book. And I've been helping persons to write books since 2018. The last 30-day writing challenge that I had, 27 participants registered and 20 books came out of it. So I know this can be done. Transforming your book into a dissertation. I created what I call the map it and fax it method, right? So you've defended the research, and this can apply to your thesis, and this can apply some of what I'm sharing, if you have done any research and that material is set aside. But let's just focus on the dissertation for this evening. The goal is not to diminish your rigor. The goal is to translate your expertise for public impact, right? So your dissertation has been written for an academic audience. You want to take that to a wider audience, and it has to be written differently. And the late Dr. Miles Monroe says, if to act without planning is fatal, but to have a plan and not act on it is futile. And so we want you to plan before you act. Before you write it, design it. And that's where the map it part comes in. And then you're going to fax it. Not FAX, but we're pronouncing it like that, is FACTS. That's a transformation engine. And then you publish and launch it. All right. So the map it phase is where you plan before you write. Brian Tracy says, every minute spent in preparation saves you 10 minutes in execution. And you can see I'm passionate, I'm teaching. Teaching is my passion, right? So the first thing you have to do is the M. What is the central message of the dissertation? And now that you're going to turn it into a book, it's for a different audience. So who is this primary audience? In my case, my audience would be authors and those who wanted to become authorpreneurs. And I wanted them to learn that authorpreneurship is a viable model for sustainable income, that you don't need to sell many books to create income as an author. And so you have to look back in your dissertation, what was the central message? And in writing this book, what is the message you want to convey to the audience? What was the central discovery? And you keep that at the forefront of your mind. So every book has a thesis. Every book has a central idea. It's like giving a TED Talk. It is always centered around a central idea and then supporting material, stories, evidence, things like that. You have to ask yourself, so we have MA, the P now, what is the purpose of the book that you're going to write? What will the book accomplish? As Stephen Covey says in the 8 Habits of Highly Effective People, you have to start with the end in mind. So I started with the end in mind. I wanted a tool to raise up more authorpreneurs. I wanted a book that could complement a course. For you, I don't know what that end will be with your dissertation. Based on the nature of your dissertation, and you are going to write the book, what is the purpose of it? What do you want to accomplish? Is it to teach? Is it just to share the findings? Is it to use the book as a resource material? Is it for coaching? Is it for speaking? Is it to build your ministry? You start with the end in mind, and you want to know who is the primary audience. You can't write a book for everybody, right? So you have to have a primary audience so that you write with them in mind. You can't want to teach, for example, reach kindergarten, and you are writing at a doctoral level. And it's the same thing with this. Then, so the impact, what is in it for the readers? At the end of reading the book that you're going to create, you have to ask yourselves, what will readers know? What do you want them to know, do, or become? How will this book change your lives? And then in thinking about it, so you're going to answer these questions, and think about it before you start to write. You have to ask yourself about your own personal vision and mission and purpose in life, and how will this book further that mission and purpose that God has given you. And you have to write it in such a way that it ties in with that. All right. And then the transformation. How will you move readers from point A to point B in the book? So you want a defined direction and a clear book map. And then the actual process now, enter the facts method. So you want to convert your dissertation step by step. This is the engine that I use to extract, rebuild, and rewrite some of it. So the F is for the findings. You have to extract the intellectual gold, the main findings from your dissertation. You're not going to republish it as is. The key principle is that your dissertation now or your thesis becomes source material. The book is a new creation. So this isn't about just reformatting the dissertation and publishing it as is. Some people may want to do that, but that's not what I'm teaching here. So all the chapters in your dissertation will not be needed. You need to focus on certain key chapters, like chapter 1 that define the problem. You could look back at your abstract, your introduction that gives you a summary. You could bear in mind the PowerPoint presentation that you did in your oral review. Let me slow down. I think I'm talking too fast. Let me slow down. All right. Chapters 1, 4, and 5. So your findings chapter, your chapter 5, your interpretation, and there are many books, several books that could come from your dissertation. This is the main book, but even before I did my defense and wrote the dissertation, I wrote 2 other books from the findings. One of which was $1 Million Book Secrets. So I extracted the main 3 top authorpreneur models and I turned that into a book. And Colette, you heard Colette speak to that. I used part of the literature review to create another book in partnership with another BGU student, Dr. Boaz Young, and we created Making Sense of 9 to 5. So your dissertation is not just one book that can come from it, it's several books. And that is good news for those of you who are not finished. But I had to be careful. I didn't want to put out anything that would, because you didn't want to put out new information in the world. So you have to use wisdom if you're going to do that. But the findings are the main thing. What are the 3 to 7 main insights? If the dissertation was written many years ago, you have to go back and check, are those findings still relevant today? The statistics, if it's more than 5 years, what was the main idea that I want to now convey in this new book? All right, so that's the F. The A, the book now going to be audience driven. So I had to bear in mind what authors would need, or aspiring authors would need, if they're going to start an online business. What do I need? So you have to go back through your dissertation now, and you have to filter out, what do I keep? What do I rewrite? What do I simplify? What do I move? For example, all the charts and illustrations and those things, you may not keep them, or some of the relevant one, you put it to the appendix. They cannot remain like how it was before. Your methodology, you don't need in the book now to go describe all the methodology. You perhaps need to mention a sentence or two what the methodology was and the reason behind it, right? Some of the findings can become the stories that you use. You have to repurpose the chapters. You have to decide what to extract from the literature review. You're not going to use back everything that was there. You have to decide what to expand, and if you need new content. So I use a lot of chapters 4 and 5. My preface, I turn to an introduction. In fact, the video that you saw at the beginning of this program was part of what became my introduction, and I used that at the oral review or the defense. And then, based on the purpose and the audience that I had in mind, and the experiments that I conducted over several years, helping other authors to become authorpreneurs, I look back on those coaching programs and I said, what could I extract from it? In my book, I wanted worksheets and things like that because the intention was to take them on a step-by-step journey. So it's not just a dissertation. Remember, it's source material, but you can repurpose the material. You can add new information. One of the chapters, new chapters in this book, I was invited to do a presentation at BGU for a class in innovation and to share my research. And in the process of preparing for that presentation, I recognized that, this content would be relevant to the book that I'm writing. And so I included that as a chapter. So the next thing, having done that, is you're going to create an outline. This is a chapter blueprint. So you're not going to use back the same table of contents that you had in the dissertation with literature review, methodology, data analysis. You now have to go come up with some creative names and titles to take the reader on the journey that you want based on the message you want to convey in the dissertation, right? So as you think through that, you brainstorm and you come up with a totally new outline. You need new names. For example, one of the topics in this book, as I shared about the reality that authors are not selling a lot of books or making a lot of money, I had from dream to reality, or the dream versus the reality, right? I also had a section in this book called Doctoral Journey and Research Insight. I still wanted to share the main insight, and so I have a section in this book that does that, but it is simplified because you have to make the language suitable for the public. So I did that. When you write a book, you want your table of contents to tell a story. It needs to be interesting. It can't be boring. You also, in writing your chapters, you want supporting evidence. You want to tell your own story, put a little bit of you in it. In an age of AI where there's a lot of information, we need human experience to inspire. That's what's going to separate the AI content from your content. People don't just need information, they need inspiration. And inspiration comes through stories and examples and illustrations. Those who are preachers, you know the formula, right? You have your main point, then you give an example, you peel it. And to see if learning is taking place, sometimes you can have reflection questions. You may not have that. You can have things for the reader to do. You may not want to do that, but that is some of the option. But it's all based on the purpose of the book and how you want people to use it in the end. So you're going to have to rewrite the chapters, simplify it, make it more conversational. So this is the T. You're going to transform your writing from boring academic writing. My dissertation wasn't boring, all right? I was told that Dr. Paulette Jordan said that it read like a story. Dr. Scholastica said the same thing. So my dissertation wasn't boring, but generally speaking, academic writing can be boring and it can be dense. Those outside of the scholarly environment sometimes can't understand what we are saying. And so you want to make it clear. You want to write for one. Don't write like you're preaching. Write for the audience of one, like you're taking the person through this journey. Imagine you had a one-day workshop or a 6-week series to do based on your dissertation and the results that you want. What would be the topics? How would you take them through to share your findings and help them to experience the transformation that you want? The transformational framework that you developed, how do you share that? You know, BG is about action, not just information. So how do you need to describe the thing in a simple way that people can get it? As a matter of fact, they say in terms of writing, you want to write at sometimes grade 6, grade 7 level, so that the things are in simple terms, not too many big words or things like that. Convey the information in a very clear manner. You want to provide the insights, give application, action. Write it like you're giving a TED talk in a sense, so that people can understand what you're trying to say. The goal isn't to dumb down the research. The goal is to make the research usable. And then the S now is your strategy for completion. Create a realistic plan to finish the manuscript. That is the first draft of the book. I did mine in 3 weeks. So I knew what I wanted it. I created my outline, a draft outline, and I had a timeline. I knew I wanted it to be published in time for graduation. I knew I wanted it for pre-orders by May 9. So you have to set timelines. If you don't set timelines to finish, you're not going to finish, right? Some people are writing for years. This can take you 30 days. It can take you 90 days. It can take you 6 months. However long it is going to take you, you need to set an end date. And you can set a word count, like a 30,000 word or 25,000 word could give you a 200-page book, a 150-page book. My book is 155 pages because I didn't want it to be too big to turn people off. And it is less than 30,000 words. So you could decide that how many words you're going to write per day. I don't write every day. When I'm inspired, though, and working on the book, I may just finish the book in a weekend, or I choose a specific time each day where each week or days in the week that I write. You're going to have to create a plan, right? Are you going to type it? You have written the content already, so you can decide how you're going to repurpose, turn some of those chapters into a nice narrative. And this is mainly nonfiction, right? Or some of you may need coaching. You may need to work with a coach to actually help you. This masterclass is just exposing you to the technique and telling you how I did it. And then you need somebody to hold you accountable. My accountability, I didn't have an accountability partner. I mean, I have 40 books, so I know how to write books and get it done. But what I did for accountability purpose, I put out a pre-order. I announced that I was doing that. So I have to be a person of integrity. Once I put it out there, I have to do it. You can get an accountability partner to help to cheer you along the journey. So you need to set the deadlines. The writing, like I said, can take you 30 days. in America, each year, every November, they used to have this National Novel Writing Month where they write a book of 50,000, a novel of 50,000 words in 30 days. NaNoWriMo isn't around anymore, but there are still writing groups, nonfiction writing in 30 days. I have a small book, big impact challenge every November as well. But you can decide how long you want it to take. It can take you 90 days, and the average timeline to publish can be another 90 days. You don't have to go as fast as I did. But set a realistic time frame. If you're working with a traditional company or a big publisher, they may give you a whole year or 18 months. It's up to you. Dr. Christina Ola, she got her dissertation published through Langham, and I helped in terms of the editing because they have they don't use APA, they use Chicago Manual, and that had to be changed in terms of the citation. So it depends on how you're going to publish it, how long it will take. But in terms of the draft, if you're going to convert your dissertation to a book, you can give yourself 30 to 90 days. So who is going to take the facts? You apply the facts method to move from defended dissertation to complete manuscript, the first draft, in 30 days. Let me know. When it is finished, you can get beta readers to help you to read it to see if it makes sense, and you can self-edit as you go along. So finish the first draft quickly, then take your time to edit. Write with your heart and edit with your head, and then get it to the professionals after. I chose the self-publishing route or independent publishing route because I'm a publisher, and it got it out faster. The floor is now open for questions. Does that make sense? Are you still with us? That is the masterclass, how I converted my dissertation to a book and how you can do it if you don't know where to start. Does the map it, fax it method resonate with you? Are there questions? Who is still with us? All right. Daniel said, thank you for your help. Full insight. By the way, this PowerPoint is available upon request. If you email me at ruth@authorpreneursecrets.com, I will get it to you. So it's available upon request. Any questions about that? Anything that resonated? Was it clear or not clear, Dr. Daniel? Let me bring back Colette, my co-host here. We have about 10 minutes or so for questions. We're still within our time.
We still have a few folks on with us, and
I said very clear presentation. Daniel said very clear and concise. Whoopee!
Oh yes, he is working with the seeds.
The seeds.
Very good, Daniel.
Thank you, Dr. Daniel. So, Dr. Daniel, you think you can take this method and start converting your book? Thanks for staying to the very end. We should give him a prize. You know, I think he was one of the first to come on and stay to the very end.
Yes.
Should we give him a prize?
Absolutely.
Dr. Scholastica said, are you available to walk people through the process? Well, I do have a program, dissertation to published book. If you go to Authorpreneur Secrets Blueprint, you can check that out. Yes, so I do have a one-on-one coaching program to help persons, and I'm working on a certificate course as well. And if that is accepted by BGU, then the BGU will be offering the dissertation to published book course. But in the meantime, I do have a program that can help you, that I can coach you through the process and help with the publication. Daniel said, I just need to figure out when I can start the process.
Okay,
Well,
we have a question.
time.
We have a question from 070707 Sam. I am wondering if all dissertations can be converted into books. Are
I
all
said
marketable?
yes. Yes. As a matter of fact, I see a book in everything. You have a story, you have an expertise. Because remember, you're taking the main finding, the kernel. You're not just taking the dissertation and your dissertation, they gave you a doctorate because you came up with something original, and that idea needs to be shared with the world. And so you're going to write a book around that idea, and you're going to pull from the dissertation and add other things to it. So it could be your story, your background with the topic. Suppose your dissertation was on let me use my pastor's wife dissertation. Her dissertation was about how the absence of fathers in the first 12 years of the child affect the development of men, and what her core finding was. You could just take the core findings and then share examples of impact. You could talk about why you became interested in this topic in the first place and what are the key findings, and you create a whole new book. So it is not just formatting and putting the dissertation. The dissertation is source material, and you created something. You discovered something that can be shared with the world, and that is valuable. And we can craft a book around that. And that's my specialty: idea to book. Everybody has a story. You have an expertise. You have something worthwhile sharing with the world. We can build a book around that. All right. Here's a question here. What number of pages is best for marketing? The number of pages is based on your purpose, right? I had an author create a 500-page book, and we sold each of those books for $150 US. But the book was marketed as a keepsake, a memorabilia. It had the stories of some phenomenal, extraordinary achievers, some of them dead, and so it was considered like a treasure trove. And so we could sell it for $150. It was 500 pages. No, ideally, a sweet spot is like a 150-page book, but it depends. The number of pages depends on the size of the book, in terms of, is it a 6x9, and it is tied to the word count. So I would say 25,000 words is a sweet spot. A 150-page book is a sweet spot. A 200-page book is a sweet spot as well. People's attention spans are short, but it depends. Michelle Obama's book is what, over 300 pages, and it's sold like crazy. So it depends on the purpose of the book. Remember, go back to the formula. What's the purpose? What do you want to use it for? That depends. That's how you market it. So the marketing has nothing to do with the number of pages. The marketing has to do with the purpose of the book.
We have another question. Thank you, Ruth, from Suzanne Muir. And she's asking, what type of certificate is BGU considering based on your dissertation?
Well, 2 certificates, as I said, a certificate in entrepreneurship and a certificate from dissertation to book. So BGU has, is it over 100 certificate programs? You can go to www.bgu.edu and check out our programs. And BGU is not paying me to promote. I love my school. My school has transformed my life. So I encourage everybody to go to BGU. So those are the 2 the Authorpreneurship certificate. This person says, who is the market for books written from technical dissertation? Again, I go back to the presentation. The audience of your book depends on the purpose of the book and the findings of the book. My dissertation was on authorpreneurship as a model for sustainable income. Therefore, my audience is anybody who is an author, one, or anybody who is looking to create sustainable income and want to try author entrepreneurship. Or a creative, anybody who is creating intellectual property. If your dissertation is about boys and helping boys at risk, then the market for the new book that you are going to create could be social workers, counselors, people who work with boys. You go back to the map. You go back to the audience. Before you convert your dissertation to a book, you have to think, who is the audience? Because you are not simply reformatting and putting the dissertation out. Colette, can you break that down for me to make it make sense so that question, could you help me to answer that?
All right. So you want to package the product depending on who is the buyer.
Yeah. So the buyer is anybody who would be interested in the work. Say, for example, one of my fellow batchmate, Robinata Murray, let me just use her. Dr. Murray's dissertation was about entrepreneurship coaching for women and its benefit. So if she's going to convert her dissertation to a book, her audience would be women interested in entrepreneurship coaching, or institutions, or women in business. And so you write the book to meet the audience. So you don't think, let me say, who is the market for books written from technical dissertation? The market is the people that you wanted to reach based on the findings from your dissertation, based on the topic of your study, and people who would be interested in that topic. The market is based on how you want to use the book. The market could become your clients, your coaching clients. The market could become future students. The market could become people who are interested in that subject area. But remember, your dissertation is mainly source material. You're going to fix it up. You're going to extract some content from it and create a whole new book to help the audience for which you're going to write the book. I hope that answers it.
Yes, it reminds me of Dr. Ricketts' book.
Yes, like Dr. Ricketts' book. Her dissertation was on her work with children and parents, parents with special needs children. And so the audience for her book turned out to be parents of children with special needs, and schools and the Ministry of Education. So the audience depends on the problem you were solving and the transformation. If your dissertation was on mentoring, then your audience would be those who are interested in mentoring. And again, how you want to use the book.
I don't see any
we're
more
out of
questions.
time. We're taking the last question.
That was the last one.
All right. I trust that was helpful. So it's an hour and a half, 90 minutes. We want to thank you for joining. There will be future workshops as well as in workshop, not just a masterclass, where you come and do something on dissertation to book. So if you want to participate in a workshop in the future, let me know. And in terms of the book that we launched today, remember to bring the book to life. there's an academy. If you want to learn more about entrepreneurship, you want to turn your idea and story into an income generating asset, you want to start an online business, I encourage you to join the academy. You want to stay in your country and earn in foreign currency, and you want to have a book as a business card, you want to transform your dissertation into a book that could become an income generating asset for you, join the Authorpreneur Secrets Academy, and we will answer your questions. We will have the workshops that show you how to do it. And if you don't want to join that membership program, then we encourage you to just go get the book. It's on Amazon in ebook and hardcover formats. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Colette, for being my able co-host. Do you have any final parting words as we close out this book launch and
Yes, I want to
masterclass?
encourage everyone who has an interest in turning their book into something big, going with the bees, to join the academy, take that 24-hour special, where you can come in at a good rate. You get a bonus, not a B, and you can continue to share in the community. So don't delay. Every minute counts. Looking forward to seeing you in the community. Thank you for having me, Ruth. It was a pleasure.
And this will remain on the YouTube channel, so you can share the broadcast. For those who want the dissertation to book process, email me and I'll share the PowerPoint with you. And if you want me to coach you to turn your book into a dissertation, email me as well at ruth@authorpreneursecrets.com. I'm putting it in the comments, and I will share with you the program that I have for you. So have a good night. As we normally say on this channel, of making many books, Ecclesiastes 12:12b says, of making many books, there is no end. So go pen it to win it and dominate entrepreneurship. Ta for now, until next time. Thanks for coming, everybody.